Are we going anywhere this week? Are you sure? I think we are. We're going to Germany.
Ha, ha.
Germany? Why is that? Because we're talking about Leica.
What? No.
What is this?
Camera.
Is that camera la?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lens actually. But it's a 21 millimeter f2.8 pre-ASPH. So we're going to talk about that. It's the version 2. It's the version. Are you a version? A version of me? So anyway, is it any good? Oh, that's so funny. I think so. Well, why don't we find out together? So get yourself something to eat or drink. Get yourself comfortable. Are you?
It's not really.
You comfortable? And let's get it on.
Here I am in Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. And his little co-host Dylan, who you know where he is, outside, eating some snacks, watching some YouTube kid stuff. And he'll come in here kind of whenever he feels like it, or maybe not at all, who knows. He's finicky at 4 nowadays, you know. So anyway, this week's episode of Camera Talk, we're back in Leica land. So Leica man in Vietnam. That's right. And what Leica are we talking about this week? Well, it's kind of a revisit of one of my old vintage Leica lenses. It's a 21 millimeter 2.8, so it's an Elmarit. And it was, you know, the last versions before the aspheric version, the ASPH version came along. So this was produced between 1980 and 1997. So it had a long history of being produced in the same basic formula. So anyway, but it all, you know, that wasn't exactly new to Leica. I mean, it was their first design of it, but you know, actually they sold a 21 millimeter way back, and we're talking way back like 1958. From 1958 to 1963, they produced, or they didn't produce, sorry, they sold a 21 millimeter f4, but it was produced by Schneider Knockenknacker. I forget the name already. But Schneider, we'll call it Schneider. And they just, so it was produced by Schneider, but Leica sold it as their own, so they rebranded it. And then from 1963 through till 1980, they sold another Schneider version of the 21 millimeter, and it was an f3.5. So, you know, it opened up just a tad bit. But anyway, the difference between the two is the earlier one had 9 aperture blades, and the later one had 4 aperture blades. But again, they were a Schneider design, not Leica. And it wasn't until you know, Walter Mandler running the show for Leica in Canada. Oh, hello, Dylan. You want to come on in? Come on in. Shut the door. Yeah, we're expecting you. What do you got there? Untuck your pants. Oh no. Whoopsie. Yeah. So Dylan's got himself some Cheerios, the snack of the gods for all children.
You just ate the most acid I've ever seen anybody eat in my life.
Cheerios, you don't need the milk, you don't need a bowl, you just eat them straight out of the box, right? Yummy stuff. Nice hair. You had similar hair in one of the last other videos too. You and your nap hair. Anyway, where was I? Walter Mandler in Canada produced these things from 1980 through to 1997. Now, of course, that was right around the time when Walter decided that he'd had enough of this game anyway and retired. So
And now for something completely different.
it wasn't exactly him doing it, but anyway, he was the one who kind of started it all off. You can get that one later. Don't worry, just eat these ones. So anyway, so from 1997. Now there were two versions, not virgins.
Let's put that.
Yeah, I know.
This one.
What's that?
Shit. This one.
So the earlier Leica version from 1980 to 1985-ish. I don't think they produced any in 1986, but the earlier version was an E39 filter thread. So it was a smaller barrel
Yes.
at the end. And it was kind of known for, all right, go get it. It was kind of known for its close focus, which was 40 centimeters. And as everybody knows, when you're shooting an M camera, that your close focus is 70 centimeters. So obviously it was non-rangefinder, so it wasn't coupled with the rangefinder mechanism, and you needed an external viewfinder to be able to, figure out how to use it at that closer range. But anyway, it was only for those few short years that they did that, and then they, again redid the barrel, so it was an E60, which is the one I have. And then created the regular 70 centimeter close focus in that regard. So that is the difference between the two.
Picture.
Yeah, and the pictures, exactly what we're talking about. So anyway, and then the other difference too between version 1 and 2 is the original Leica version, the 39, had the little pins for the hood. Kind of like the Frankenstein pins out of his neck kind of thing. To place the hood, versus this one has a bayonet style locking hood mechanism. Anyway, other than that, they were pretty much the same, same formula, optical formula. And what is that optical formula? Do you know what the optical formula? C-SIC. Yeah, almost 8 elements in 6 groups. So you're almost there. Almost there. The next one was the close focus 70, as we just talked about. The aperture blades, you know how many aperture blades there were?
So side.
How much is that?
8.
8. Very good. All right, you got your counting down. 8 aperture blades, and it was 290
8
grams.
here.
Yeah, 8 up there. That's right.
8.
And 21 millimeter gives you a 92-degree angle of view. So it's pretty wide.
0.
Yeah, it's pretty wide.
That's how you use it.
What else can I tell you? And because of that, it changed, and again changed the way the original design, which was built by Schneider. Because now making it retrofocus, like changing the physical elements of the barrel design, also made it very challenging to correct for coma. You know what coma is? Yeah? No? Distortion? You know what distortion is? Yeah? No? And chromatic aberration, you know what that is?
Get the fuck out of here.
Huh? Yeah?
10.
So, anyway, so they had to sacrifice a little things, and
10.
so, yeah, 10 of them. So they allowed some distortion into it. But it's still, it's still better than the Schneider made
Heute Nacht.
ones. Still looks better, and it actually has less distortion.
Mom.
Oh, you want dinner?
Yeah.
You're hungry? All right. Well, we'll have some dinner. But hang on a sec. We'll have to wait to say bye-bye to these guys. So it has less distortion than the spheric one, the 21 ASPH.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You gonna say bye-bye? All right. Okay, go eat your dinner. All right. Say bye-bye, everybody. All right. Go eat your dinner. Make sure you shut the door when you leave. Yeah, he's got to eat dinner. He wants dinner.
Oh, thank God.
So I was telling my wife. Obviously, I'm not talking to Dylan. So anyway, little distraction there going on. Speaking of performance, all right, let's talk about performance here. Now, obviously, it is not a modern Leica lens.
No shit, Sherlock.
And being the fact that it's a 21 millimeter, it's pretty wide. You know, it has its challenges. So wide open, you know, it's not bad in the center. You know, it's a Leica lens. But other than that, it's pretty soft. You know, light fall off and so on out to the edges. Now at f4, it starts to really pick up some pretty good detail and contrast. 5.6 is pretty much its peak aperture setting, so it's nice across the entire frame. And again, shooting with a 21 millimeter is challenging in itself because of the fact that it is pretty wide. So you know, and again, it captures a lot of the scene going on. So you know, it's great for environmental shots, obviously picking up everything that's out there. But in such a setting like that, it's difficult to really pinpoint what is the subject, really. So using a 21, really the best approach if you want to get some focus on your subject is to think of the subject in the foreground and let the environment kind of surround it from there. And that's not easy composition to come up with, especially with a 70 centimeter close focus. You know, that's not exactly very close. So it's a challenge in such a thing. So that's why a lot of people, you know, aren't shooting with the 21 all that often. But, and I do mean but,
Like big butts and I cannot lie.
there are exceptions. There's, you know, again, it's great for that environmental landscape shots. And show you an example here. My university is right across the river from my apartment. So I'm up on the 20th floor. I can take a shot of the campus right across the river from me. And because it's a 21, I also pick up all the surrounding buildings as well. There's a K-12 school right to the left of my school. There's another Vietnamese university right behind mine, off into the center. So it's capturing all three schools in one shot, so to speak, as well as all the apartment buildings and the river and bridge and everything is captured in that. And so that's, you know, again, here's, and I'll show you two just to give you the variations of it. Here's f2.8. And here's what did I shoot at? f11, I do believe, just to get the two extremes. All right, and why do I say f11 as extreme is because beyond f11 it starts to really, again, soften up and it doesn't perform as well as it should at that point. So just consider this from an f2.8 to an f11, forget the f16. and you'll be good to go. So anyway, other than that, well, here's a sample I did of my little penguin dude here. Set him up here just to get a shot from down low up going this way, and so here was f2.8. Here was f4. And f5.6, just to show you that. Since we talked about those three apertures. So that was that. And as usual, some little snapshots of Dylan when I can get him cooperating. Aww. Sorta, kinda, in this regard as well. So here's Dylan. All right, so other than that, I think that was pretty much all I wanted to tell you about this lens. Again, it's a vintage lens, so you have to expect limitations, especially on a A7R3, you know, with a 42 megapixel sensor. You know, you know, again, it holds its own for what it is, the age that it is, and the design that it has. So, can I recommend it? If you want a 21 millimeter and you don't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars, you can get this for $1,000 or so, a Leica lens, and have a piece of history, a piece of Leica land. My precious. Anyway, so that's all I'm going to talk about with that, I think. Yeah. And this one, the age of this one, exactly looking up the serial number, is 1990. So it's already an ancient lens as far as we go. So, all right, that's enough of that. Can we recommend it? Sure, maybe, kind of, sort of.
I don't know.
Not really, but it's okay. How's that? And how about our little plug for our photo editing software that I use? Because it's also good to talk about that kind of thing too, because everybody needs to, or they should, I don't say you need to, everybody should be editing their software, editing their photos, because a lot of the stuff straight out of camera isn't quite ready for its public debut yet.
All right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up.
So I would recommend doing so. And who do I use? I use Luminar. And I use Luminar Neo. It's our latest, greatest. It's full of AI. It has things like spot and dust removal. So if you're down at the beach taking pictures of some hot babes, and you know, you get home and your wife's like, "Hey, are you taking pictures of hot babes?" And you go, "What? Check these hot babes out." And she sees what it is, and then it's like, "Oh, it's not so bad." But maybe there's some seagulls in the background flying off, and then your wife says, "Hey, are those seagulls? Those don't look like seagulls. They look like blotches of something." And they end up being spots, dirt on your sensor. Because you're changing your lenses on and off down at the beach, and stuff's blowing around and it gets in on the sensor. And voila, you end up with spots with a dirty sensor. So spot and dust removal can analyze your photo, recognize the difference between a flock of seagulls the birds and spots, and it'll remove the spots for you and leave the birds alone. How nice is that, right? And then we have power line removal, and Dylan's out there doing who knows what, but he's screaming something or other, talking to the TV. Power line removal, so you have this cool bit of architecture you want to print out and put up over your fireplace, but then you realize there's these fugly power lines in there. Well, you just click on power line removal and it'll analyze your photo again and remove those power lines for you. Nice. And it has background removal. It has scenery lighting. It has sky replacement. It has masking AI and all kinds of other AI stuff. Dylan AI, where it removes Dylan from the scene. Hey, we already did that. So anyway, but one of the other good things about this program is it's economical. So if you click on the link in the description below, it'll take you to Skylum. And if you buy a copy of Luminar through that link, it'll deduct $10 off your purchase. So you're getting it even more economically. And what do they do with that $10?
Talk it up, man.
Well, besides that, they give it to us. Well, I say us when Dylan's here, but they give it to me. And then I can spend it on similar things. So anyway, get yourself a copy of that. And the other nice thing about buying Luminar is the fact that they are produced by a company called Skylum, who's in Ukraine. Everybody knows what's going on there at the moment. So poor them, dealing with Uncle Vlad, and but still producing updates and everything else while drones and bombs are going off around them. So kudos to them. Other than that, how about you support our channel and you subscribe? That's right. How about you subscribe? That's right. If that wasn't dramatic enough for you, 2-finger subscribing demand. Subscribe! That's right. And what else does YouTube like besides subscribers? Well, besides that, everybody likes that. But they like the thumbs up. And if you give us a thumbs up, we'll give you a taste of Dylan's Girls, the Thumbs Up Girls. I don't remember the name of their band, but they sing a little tune, something like this. Thumbs up, do 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 do, thumbs up. Dylan likes them. They're hot. He's got a thing for the blonde one in the middle. Anyway, besides all that, who are we? I'm Dr. Scott. He's Dylan.
I'm Spartacus! Bond. James Bond.
And collectively, we're all Modesty Photography. We're here to talk about tips and tricks about photography, vintage lenses, vintage cameras, camera stuff, photography stuff.
That's what I'm talking about.
Or just stuff. Oh no is right. And hey, if you come back next week, we'll talk about some stuff. All right? So, why should you come back? Because you belong here. That's right. And where do you belong? This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Dylan. So, come on back next week. We try to do one of these every Friday. And if not every Friday, then every other Friday. Depends on timing. So remember, that's Vietnam time, right? So that could be the day before you, depending on where in the world you are, the day after you, or maybe even the same day as you. Who knows? Depends on your funky time warp. So thank you for dropping by. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for just being you. And we'll see you next week. I think that's it. All right, you're free to go. See you. Bye-bye.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always good.